Yeah, hello everybody. Greetings from Dublin. Greetings from the Silicon Docks. As Clemens mentioned, we are one of 70 offices around the globe. We are based here in Dublin, and one of our, beside the classic trade promotion, where we help Austrian companies looking or finding local clients, what we're doing in Dublin and where we have a strong focus is our innovation learning journey tasks, where we really look into the market, what kind of innovation is in the market, and we present this also to Austrian companies. Interesting, or specifically interesting, I mentioned the Silicon Docks, is everything around all social media companies. I hear for a lot of American companies that come to the US, Dublin is the place to go. Not so much it's the language, it's the culture. And if you are in IT and your board of directors tells you go to Europe, you don't have to argue when you chose Dublin because everybody else is here. And of course, more and more, there's a lot of spin-outs or people that worked in these big tech companies that would found their own companies that feeds into the local, into this local ecosystem of Irish, of these so-called Silicon Docks. But now we go completely the other way. There is an Irishman who went from Ireland, from Cork to Vienna to work in Vienna for an Austrian startup. And there I'm asking, Michael, how did you end up in Vienna?
Thanks, Joseph. I ended up in Vienna. It's almost 10 years ago to the day. So 3 more weeks, I'll be living in Austria for 10 years. I moved to Austria straight after university. I had an Austrian girlfriend at the time, and that's just what we were doing. We came to Austria for the summer, ended up staying. I ended up staying even longer and started working at a startup, I think 7 years ago, it's now called Elgo. It was called Vplay at the time. I worked there for 2 years in growth hacking and content marketing. I then moved to Anyline 5 years ago in a content manager position, eventually moved into sales management, business unit management. I was the VP of data for a short time, and currently a senior account executive with the company still. So still working on bringing in new revenue and winning new customers.
Very good. Could you explain a little bit about Anyline so our audience would learn more about like Anyline and your solutions?
Yeah. So at Anyline, we're focused on providing mobile data capture solutions at an enterprise grade level. So really in the B2B space only. We've been doing this now for, it's almost 10 years also. And really how it started was with our OCR technology. So the team, the founders had a really great handle on OCR technology from their previous business as an app development agency. They decided to focus in on this, that this is what they were going to focus on, specialize on. And they built the business out from here, initially with a focus on scanning electricity meters. So scanning your home meter, whether you're doing it yourself or a technician is coming to do it. They wanted to make it so that it could all be done with a smartphone rather than pen and paper. And we've expanded out from there, capitalizing on that core technology to develop solutions for capturing information from ID cards. So we have a universal ID reader which scans driving licenses, national ID cards from all over the world. We also have facial authentication solutions, NFC capture for smartphones. We have fantastic barcode scanning capabilities. So that's our game. That's everything we're focused on. If it's to do... Yes.
Sorry for interrupting you. This would be when you basically try to pay online and they say, okay, we read your card and you put your card on this would be your solution.
Exactly. That's a perfect application for what we're doing. A large partner we have in this space is actually from different governments. So we work with the Austrian police. We provide all of the police with a solution that can capture your passport, your national ID, driver's license, also license plate of your car, VIN number of your car, information from your tires, really anywhere there's text that a smartphone camera could read, we can read it or we're trying to read it.
Oh, okay. Also for toll highways, for example, that you would read out the plates for the.
Not so much. So this is those guys have that cornered off for a very long time. ANPR solutions, where you have this thing by the side of the road that the camera that
Exactly.
captures the cards. We're really focused on the mobile device first.
Well, okay.
So that's our focus.
Very interesting. And also the meter reading, does this still go on? Does this still sell?
It does. So the meter reading is it's a very interesting one. The team got interested because across the EU since 2014, I believe, we've had the smart meter rollout initiative, which initially was planned to bring smart meters to all of our homes by 2022. We've assisted here in Austria, in Germany, in the UK with these smart meter rollouts in the past. Obviously, in Europe now, a lot of this is completed, but where we're now seeing opportunities and something that we didn't even have knowledge of in the team 5 years ago is that all over the developing world, you of course still have people doing manual meter readings. And in certain cases, in particular countries, there's a lot of fraud that's associated with this practice. So you have meter readers who turn up, they look at the meter and go, oh, you're going to have a big bill unless, I get such and such in my back pocket, and I go on my way again. So we're now helping out with these use cases in really a lot of different places. India is one of the big places we're doing this. South Africa we've done. We're currently looking into a few more closer to home also. So there still is a big demand internationally for this type of solution. A different application, but the same.
I remember I worked in Mexico a couple of years,
right.
And there was a big issue on meter readings, and it was also like the combination of reading plus tracking. If the person really went there to really take the picture at this concrete, so you really could basically offer all the solution out of one hand.
Yeah, we actually had to provide a bespoke solution for one customer where they had this problem also. Is the person actually even going to read the meter? So we created a computer vision solution which could verify yes or no. Is that a real meter in front, or is this like an A4 printout of a meter that these guys are using? It's a huge issue internationally. It's something that we're continuing to focus on.
Interesting. And when we talked before, you said basically your bread and butter markets were the DACH region, German-speaking areas. What challenges did you find going out of DACH? How did you overcome these challenges?
Yeah, so when I joined the company 5 years ago, it was almost exclusively DACH. We had a couple of customers dotted around Europe besides this, but nowadays we're from the USA to Australia. We've gotten as far as we can, I think. The challenges, Joseph, what it always is that you have to build up at least a basic amount of local knowledge about, how does the industry work there? How do people work there? Like this challenge I mentioned with the meter readers, we would of course never have this in Europe, but in other parts of the world, that's completely commonplace. So that's always the initial stage is fact finding. Is you pick a market, whether it's the USA or Australia, like I mentioned, you need to do your homework and really know what you're going into, rather than expecting that you're going to arrive over there and, everyone will rejoice to see you coming with your solution that, oh, wow, the Anyline guys are here. You need to know that the specific challenges to specific markets. And then from here, it's about, I would really say, weighing the opportunity cost of which market do you want to go into. Australia is a far simpler market to go into than the USA because there's 6-7 territories in Australia. In the US, you have 50. And each, I think we all are aware that each state in America has its own laws, its own bylaws and regulations. You need to have an awareness of this.
What could be interesting for audience as well is, how do you with COVID, a lot of these sales went online, of course. but you still travel to see potential customers?
How yes, we do. So I think hybrid selling is the best way to describe what we've been doing.
Okay. So initial contact first through internet, and then you...
Absolutely. So I would say 99% of our opportunities begin online with someone reaching out to us through our website, or us reaching out through LinkedIn or email or a conference like this even. And typically we will begin a process online. We of course have made sure that our product is, capable of being demoed without one of us being present. Anyone can pick it up anytime, try it out. That goes for everyone around the world, so we have no issues here. But as discussions get advanced, if there is the need for, if we're going into a new territory where there's a new challenge, getting feet on the ground in a new territory is crucial. So
yeah, I read
90% digital, 10% on the ground, but still always hybrid.
Okay, I read that basically in even B2B sales, people really, as the new generation is basically moving up, and classically my parents would have gone to a store and they would have explained them everything about, I don't know, washing machine. It's like from the start. But the new generation, and I call myself new generation if I'm 77, but I would research the things out of the internet, and I would go to a shop and would already know what I know, and then I would ask some very specific questions. And I guess that's the same happening with your customers. So you won't get very basic questions, but already very, very detailed questions, because most of the information is already on your website.
Exactly. So there's a huge amount of info on the website. And as you said, there is this generational difference where maybe in previous generations, they're very happy to go and speak to someone who's like me, who's an account executive, a salesperson, and ask every question that comes into their head. Whereas nowadays, people want to do their own investigation. They don't want to speak to someone like me blind, and I'm just the one telling them everything. And that's a big part of our marketing process, is making sure people can find out for themselves. And as you said, Joseph, when people come to us, they typically don't have these beginner questions. They often have very, very insightful questions that can be a challenge for us sometimes. And that's fantastic too, because, when the customer challenges you, you can find new opportunities.
Of course. Yeah, perfect. And talking about challenges, like what would be like some of the largest challenges, tech challenges around the code and more in the technology sphere that you found going abroad and going internationally?
Yeah. I think what the best example I have is to do with our universal ID reader. So I was involved here, not just as in a sales perspective, but in a product perspective. And a part of doing all of our solutions, because we use a CRNN model, we need to collect a lot of training data. So we wanted to make this solution. We'd done our market analysis. We were like, this would be great, but yeah, let's get into it. The challenges that came up, I never would have foreseen. So in the USA, if you think about a driver's license, each state has its own driver's license. Let's take California, for example. But in California, you have the driver's license, and then you have the driver's license with what's called Real ID, which was a kind of half attempt by the US to create a system where all of these cards would be similar or easy to read. Didn't work out so well. But to get started with, you have a normal driver's license, a Real ID driver's license. Then you have a commercial driver's license. You have a learner's permit driver's license. You have a particular license for people who might have certain disabilities. Okay, we've gone from doing one license to doing 5. But we say, okay, but we know what these are. We can get the data. That's not too bad. It will take longer than we expected, but it's not too bad. As time went on and we gathered all of this training data and were reviewing the training data, we started to realize that there were differences even on if you take one of the cards. So your standard California driver's license, the layouts were all slightly different. And we're saying, why are these layouts slightly different? Doesn't make any sense. Through a lot of research, I discovered that, in the US, you get your driver's license from the DMV. It's like this council office everyone goes to. That's just how you do it. These DMVs are all over the place. It's not just one building. Basically, all these DMVs use a different printer to make the driver's license. So there is no standardized practice for making the driver's license, which makes it very, very hard to make a standardized detection model for RCRNNs to say that's a California driver's license.
You don't even have...
This is what I was saying about, you have to have your local knowledge. You have to find these things out.
You don't even have to go so far, because in Austria, you have now the new ones, they are like this size. And then you have this really, I don't know if you saw one of these pink ones.
Yeah, I have one of these. My dad had one of these, so I seen this one too. I just said,
and they're valid.
Ignore
they
this.
Don't expire. So you have some of these around 50 years old.
Yeah, they don't expire. Yeah. So yeah, I've seen these ones. I just said, I vetoed that. Like, no, these guys can, they have to stick to the old way if they want to keep the old license.
Perfect.